Thomas the Tank Engine has been around a long time, first as a book series and then as a TV show. I love Thomas the Tank Engine as it has been a big part of my childhood. That said, some bits I love more than others, so I thought I would throw down some hot takes in this video and then explain my reasoning behind them. Before I continue, if you could like the video, it would really help me out. That said, let's begin. Negative as I may sound in this video, I want to make it clear that I don't hate anything that I dislike here, and that if you like these things, that's perfectly okay. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments below actually. However, to prove I am not all doom and gloom, let's start off with what I think is overly hated in the Thomas fandom today. Number 1. The CGI series. In 2009, Thomas and Friends moved away from using models and into full CGI. At the time, and to this day, it is a decision which has angered many fans and has caused some to move away entirely from the series. Personally, while I agree the first few series had bad writing and bad CGI, I think it really improved with season 17 in 2014. Do I think the CGI series is as good as the classic series we all grew up with? Yes. If not better in some cases. I think the model series will have a certain charm that will never be outdone by the CGI series, but at its peak the CGI series could be really great. Sure, some models looked off compared to the real life or model series counterparts, and the switch over led to many characters not appearing that would have otherwise. But overall, I'm happy for the changes as it led to a lot of great moments would have not been possible with models. Number 2. The Clive Sponge illustrations. Look, I'll be straight up. Clive Sponge made some scary and downright terrible illustrations. Please, demon, do not eat my soul. That said, however, he gets such a bad rap. I really enjoy a lot of his drawings, and while he's not my favourite illustrator of the Railway series, he is from far the worst. Some good examples of his work are Gordon the High-Speed Engine, Jock the New Engine, and Thomas and the Great Railway Show. I mean, just look at these. Number 3. Alec Baldwin as Mr. Conductor. Maybe I'm biased, but as a British person, I grew up having no clue what a Shining Time station was. All I had was my Thomas and Friends VHSs and DVDs and I was happy, goddammit. The movie itself aside, I shall return to it later, I was really interested in Mr. Conductor and Junior. And as a child, and even to this day, my favourite parts of the film were not the stuff with Lily and Burnett Stone, nor was it the stuff with Thomas and the other talking trains. No. Because I was that weirdo whose favourite part of Thomas and the Magic Railroad was Alec Baldwin. He was my first, and for many years only, window into Mr. Conductor and Shining Time Station, and he is to this day my favourite, even beating out Ringo and George. I can't fully describe why I like him the best, but the way you see him go from confident to defeating is so investing even if the rest of the movie wasn't. Number 4. Journey Beyond SODOR. From the first trailer with the unfinished CGI to the mostly terrible experimental engines, Journey Beyond SODOR gets seen as one of the worst Thomas movies ever made. However, I feel it's overlooked. Outside the one location scene in the trailer, the rest of the movie looks amazing, especially the steelworks. It feels so lonely and run down. Frankie is genuinely a chilling villain, even if she's let down by the ending, and the songs are great. Hottest Place in Town gets stuck in my head a lot. It's also one of the only pieces of Thomas media which covers the stranger danger aspect and makes it clear to children while not traumatizing them. Overall, the next time you get a chance, I recommend giving it a rewatch. Number 5. Road Vehicles. While I admit the road vehicles aren't as hated as some of the other things on this list, they do not receive half as much love as they need. From Trevor and Terence to the Pack, the road vehicles and Thomas have just as much personality as the engines. Part of the issue is the lack of episodes focusing on them, but I think if we saw more road vehicles, people would like them a lot more than they currently do. They give us some of the best villains on the roads. Bulgy, the horrid lorries, George, Max and Monty, and also some of the friendliest characters too, like Oliver from the Pack. Now I have gone through what I feel is underrated, I think that's enough positivity for today. Now let's get on to what I dislike. Number 6. The Railway Series Liveries. This is one of those opinions I rarely ever see online, and if I do, it's shot down almost instantly, but honestly, I prefer the TV series liveries to those in the Railway series. From the Scottish Twins to the Scarloy Railway, the coats of paint seen on screen help the characters stick out and stop confusion about who's who. While I understand some people prefer the railways to have a consistency in its liveries or to match up with the real-world counterparts, I don't think any of that's worth the confusion which is caused when you have so many engines of the same colour and size interacting. Number 7. Small Scale Duncan. This one hit me recently when I was rewatching Season 4 and I realised that, to me, I don't really like the look of Duncan. From his face to even his colour scheme, he just seems a bit out of place, and once I compared him to his large-scale model, I realised that I prefer it. Don't get me wrong, I think every other large-scale narrow-gauge engine model looks bad compared to their small-scale model, but there's something about Duncan which feels more fitting with the large-scale model. The face feels more realistic, and the colour is more dull, which fits his often sour personality. Number 8. Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Oh boy. This will be a big one too. Okay, so I could spend a whole video talking about the flaws of this film, but I do actually like it. It's my childhood, and part of me will always enjoy it, and the music is iconic. But outside of that, the film is a train wreck. From the focus on Shining Time Station that the British audiences didn't understand, the cheap looking sets which feel completely different to the ones on the show, it just doesn't feel like Thomas. And it's so jarring to hear Thomas being voiced by a Canadian in the British dub, and the dialogue feels like something out of the Hit era at times. I will stop here to not derail this video any more than I already have, but this movie is not something I rewatch often. Number 9. Seasons 6 to 12. Well, this is certainly one that's been going on Twitter recently, and yes, I'm not saying you can't like these seasons. There are a lot of good episodes in here, but overall they're not that great. Seasons 6 and 7 are okay for the most part, but they're very held up by their newbies. The stories themselves are not really anything special, and past season 7 they became the same bland three-strike formula that the CGI seasons would get kicked down for. Some of the later episodes just got so boring, and while the new characters were good, they're not good enough to make the season worth a rewatch, at least for me. As I say, there's some gold in this era, but I'd rather watch Jack and the Pack over any of these seasons personally. And finally, the one we've all been waiting for. What do I dislike the most? Number 10. Thomas Minis. I know everyone and their grandparents seems to love these little buggers, but honestly I don't like them at all. They're so expensive for what they are and the proportions are all off, especially for the tender engines. But I could overlook that if it wasn't for all the waves. Not only do you need to buy them in a blind bag so you don't know which ones you're getting or if you're going to get one you've already bought, but there's so many gimmicky paint jobs. There seems to be sports, animals, food, it's just very odd. Also, if you needed any more reason to not like it, there's one with the word Sugar Daddy on the side. Need I say more? So that's my top 10 list. What did you think? I know it can be a bit of lazy content, but I'm a sucker for making a dumb looking thumbnail and then rolling with the video afterwards. Leave a comment saying if you agree with anything I said in this video, and make sure to like and subscribe if you did and you want to see more content from me in the future.